Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 35 of Be With Me. We're in a chronological walk through the Bible, specifically the Gospels. We're just starting the process of the crucifixion, and today is the arrest of Jesus. There's a lot that happens here. There's a lot of people. Let's get right to it. This is John chapter 18. When Jesus had spoken these words, he went out with his disciples across the Kidron Valley, where there was a garden, which he and his disciples entered. Now Judas, who betrayed him, also knew the place, for Jesus often met there with his disciples. So Judas, having procured a band of soldiers and some officers from the chief priests and the Pharisees, went there with lanterns and torches and weapons. Another gospel says clubs are involved as well. Verse 4, then Jesus, knowing all that would happen to him, get that, Jesus, knowing all that would happen to him, came forward and said to them, whom do you seek? And they answered, Jesus of Nazareth. And Jesus said to them, I am he. Judas, who betrayed him, was standing with them. When Jesus said to them, I am he, they drew back and fell to the ground. So he asked them again, whom do you seek? And they said, Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus answered, I told you that I am he. So if you seek me, let these men go. This was to fulfill the word that he had spoken. Of those whom you have given me, I have not lost one. Then Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's servant and cut off his right ear. The serpent's name was Malchus. So Jesus said to Peter, put your sword into its sheath. Shall I not drink the cup that the Father has given me? Oh, what a story. So this is where we really get into some action. First of all, let's talk about Judas. He knows the place, and has intimate knowledge, and that's what makes his betrayal so nasty. Let's talk about the soldiers. So they bring lanterns, and they also bring torches, which I think is like the lanterns are the economical light. The torches are the extravagant light, and demonstrate sort of this violent intent. A weapon, they can be even a weapon because you've got this open flame. And one of the other Gospels talks about clubs. So they have probably blades, swords and spears and clubs and flame. And we find out that one of the disciples, and maybe more, is armed. And stay with us, we'll find out about that. But all these people are outgunned. They have all brought pea shooters to beyond World War I, beyond a world war, which is this epic battle of good and evil and Jesus conquering sin, and it's so far past their pay grade. And that's revealed with Jesus. So here's Jesus knowing that this is going to happen to him. He has just finished his time by praying the 3 times in the Garden of Gethsemane with kneeling and these fall down prayers that he has, where he decides and yields and submits and resolves to do what's ahead, which is the crucifixion. And it says here in verse 4, knowing all this, knowing what? Knowing the trials, knowing the mocking, knowing the suffering, knowing the scourging, knowing the crucifixion, and knowing the joy that's set before him. He knows all that. He comes forward and volunteers himself, sacrifices himself, here specifically for the disciples and for all of us eventually. And then this revelation of glory. So John has had a number of moments where Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the good shepherd. And this is one of the I am statements and when he says this is a buzzword to go back to the revelation of God, where he's basically saying, I am God. I'm not going to go into that too much today. So he reveals himself as Lord God Almighty. And what is the response to that? And this is a band of soldiers and they drew back and fell to the ground. Their torches fall to the ground. They fall to the ground. They have brought pea shooters to this beyond world war. It's so far above their pay grade. They're probably shaking in their boots saying, hey, I did not sign up for this. And they, who think they're coming with overwhelming force, are met with an overwhelming force that is beyond them. And it was demonstrated they were defeated. Malachi 3:2 says, who can stand at his coming? Ezekiel 3 times, when this happened to him, a prophet of God, a guy who was in the business, when the glory of God was revealed, he fell on his face 3 times in the book of Ezekiel. All right, and then Jesus, we find here that he is committed to this and wants to drink the cup. He's already decided he's going to drink the cup. All right, so let's get to Peter here. Peter takes out his sword. He tries to kill this guy. That's the only reason you cut somebody's ear off. You're not doing the strike to cut the guy's ear off. You do the strike to cut his neck, and you miss, and you get his ear. We find out in one of the other Gospels in Luke that Jesus touched the ear and heals him. And here in John, we find out this guy's name. He's not a minor character. This Malchus guy, who's a bondservant, the decided, committed, voluntary servant of the high priest, sort of in the business. We don't find out whether he's armed or not. He's described here as a servant, not a soldier. Maybe Peter went for the easy guy. Anyway, Jesus heals his ear. I can't think of another miracle that Jesus does on the earth before his resurrection. I believe that Malchus gets the last miracle. And he's not a minor character because one of his relatives actually is the guy who's going to circle back and accuse Peter of being with Jesus. And it's the third denial right before the rooster crows. So this is not a throwaway thought in here. This is a big deal that Malchus tells his relative who these people are, who identifies Peter, who denies Christ. So it's a big circle. All right, and then one of the other Gospels, Mark, says that all left him and fled. So Jesus is in this thing alone. So we've got Judas knowing the place. We have the intent of the soldiers who have come with pea shooters to a world war beyond them. We have Jesus revealing himself. We have him committed to the cup and the cup of the suffering. And we have the disciples fleeing. And we have Malchus getting the last miracle. Thanks for listening.